Do you guys know what I have here in my hands for you today? This is a list from the Alberta Purchasing Connection of every single hotel company, cleaning company, camp, trailer building company, etc. that has ever applied to become a mandatory hotel quarantine site or service or clean those sites in Alberta. Every single one. And that is coming up next.
MTC Beats.
You guys ever hear the saying, it's not about what you know, it's about what you can prove? That's what I aim to do with this series. Prove some things that I already somewhat know, but so that you can know them too. There's going to be some really shocking revelations in this second episode. In the first one, I proved that there are at least 70 mandatory hotel quarantine sites. And we proved that there's a difference between the federally designated isolation sites and these mandatory hotel quarantine sites. They are different sites. One is for positive testing, one is for negative testing. Whereas the other one, who runs the other one, we don't know yet, but we're getting there. And there will actually be some revelations about that later on in this episode. So stay tuned. For now, let's take things back a little bit to prove the existence of a plan since very early on in this. This is the Alberta Purchasing Connections website. They post government-offered contracts for private companies to bid on. I'm going to click on this pre-qualification request for accommodations. This is an opportunity notice or contract posting for all accommodation services. We will circle back to the posting date in just a minute, but first let's see what the job posting is about. Commodity codes are V52B, hotels, motels, and commercial accommodation. And here is a response contact. Dennis Lee from Edmonton, Alberta. Opportunity description. Alberta's Chief Medical Officer of Health has issued specific orders regarding the pandemic COVID-19, CMOH orders. These CMOH orders detail restrictions and prohibitions necessary to protect Albertans and prevent the spread of COVID-19. Specifically, CMOH Order 05-2020 requires certain individuals to isolate or quarantine at home. For various reasons, certain individuals are unable to isolate or quarantine at home. Therefore, it has become necessary to establish a standing offer list for approved individuals to isolate or quarantine in a commercial accommodation. The purpose of this PQR process is to identify pre-qualified contractors with the ability to provide accommodation services with set rates across the province for approved individuals. Pre-qualified contractors will enter into master agreements for the provision of accommodation services, and these master agreements will be valid up to December 31st, 2020. Please see the attached documents for details. All questions relative to this notice must be directed to the contracting manager, Karen Bochansky. Now, if you notice the PQR update number 3, closing date extended to November 30th, 2021. Back to the top. The posting date was May 8th, 2020. So that proves that by May 8th, 2020, 2 months into COVID, they had agreements to use hotels as quarantine facilities until December 31st, 2020. I thought it was 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Yet they had plans to use hotels as quarantine facilities already from May 2020 until December 2020. But there's evidence of it starting even earlier. In this CTV Regina article from November 3rd, 2020, here's what we know about government-established hotel quarantine sites. It goes on to say that since the first case of COVID-19 appeared in Saskatchewan, 390 people have checked in for 2-week periods at 5 unnamed hotels. I highly doubt they checked themselves in, thinking they could quarantine there without government assistance. But now if we scroll down a little further, we'll see a quote from Jim Bentz from the Saskatchewan Hotel and Hospitality Association. You know, we saw how tough it could get in other jurisdictions if hospitals are overwhelmed. So right from the very beginning, in the middle of March and early April, we developed a plan in which we wanted to support healthcare in any way we could. Mid-March and early April, they already knew that they would be using hotels as quarantine facilities in Saskatchewan. Did the public know this? Because the first time I recall the public knowing about it was in about November 2020 when this article came out. Back to the Alberta Purchasing website, let's click on Interested Vendors on the right-hand side. This list shows every response to this bid. Hotel companies, camp and trailer companies, cleaning companies, testing companies. There are literally hundreds of applicants from all across the province, and even some outside, including 6 applicants from Lethbridge. This one has 2 different bids, one hotel with multiple. As is this one. Three applicants for Medicine Hat. And even 2 applicants from Brooks. The applicants come from Leduc, Grand Prairie, Olds, Calgary, Edmonton, Fort McMurray, and countless more. But there's some specific companies that I want to show you. There is an Indigenous Reserve, an Access eHealth where they keep electronic health records, and our good old friends at the Westin Calgary Airport Hotel, where my cousin was held against his will and without informing his mother. Let's check out C&V Portable Accommodation. They build office trailers, mostly for oil rig sites. They're low in cost, comfortable, and functional. We believe that we can make the lives of the people in our community better. Modus Structures from Crossfield, Alberta. Modus is the only company in Western Canada laser focused on the design, build, and delivery of off-site construction solutions for commercial, residential, institutional, and industrial applications. What do those look like to you? What do those look like they could possibly be used for? Modus can meet you where you are at. How convenient is that? Modus is the only off-site construction company offering proprietary, custom-built, structurally insulated panels that solve common building degradation issues, which equates to longevity, durability, and energy efficiency. They can be optionally reconfigured, relocated, and reused. Very convenient. But what would they need to build for the government? How about Octaform Systems out of Vancouver, BC? They use quickliner, PVC wall, and ceiling panels, and are known for the speed in which they can construct very large buildings and walls. How handy would that come in for the government? Being able to construct large walls and large buildings in a very short amount of time. Octaform's core product is Formwork, a PVC stay-in-place concrete wall forming system that reduces energy consumption and extends the life of high-performance concrete structures. The concrete wall is finished when formed. In one step, it saves time and eliminates the need for harsh coatings and cladding. Now, when we check out commercial buildings, tell me, what does this building look like to you? Now, it is just a head office and warehouse listed on their website. But doesn't something about this just feel wrong to you? What would all these companies be wanting to take up government contracts for? What are they looking to build? Here it says they constructed a 49,000 square feet of wall in just 14 days. How about Royal Camp Services Limited from Calgary, Alberta? Your turnkey remote accommodation and workforce housing solution. If we scroll down to their lodges, we operate premium open-style lodges throughout Western Canada, varying in size from 150 to 700 plus clients. Summit Camps. Based in Smithers, BC, Summit Camps is a Canadian leader in delivering integrated camp services to very remote locations. Their working culture values staff, resulting in excellent client service. What do those look like to you? Why would the government be interested in building enormous work camps like these? There are plenty of applicants from Fort McMurray and northern Alberta that build these kind of structures. AltaFab Structures Limited from Nisku, Alberta. Experts in off-site construction, providing innovative modular building solutions for industries across Canada since 1973. This was a custom-built 2-unit lounger they demonstrated at the Oil and Gas Show in Calgary, Alberta. AltaFab builds off-site camp structures of all shapes and sizes, whether it's a 10-person or a 2,500-person complex. Our workforce accommodations can be tailored for any industrial requirement. Now, what interest would the government have in using all of these companies? Look at that. Imagine out in the middle of nowhere, giant camps built for quarantine. Is it starting to look realistic to you now? Look at that. Built for one person. Now, how about Civio from Edmonton, Alberta? Civio's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Lodges and villages. Check out Canada. Alberta and Fort McMurray. Let's check out some of what they've got. So they have these lodges. But then they have these. Fort McMurray Village. Over 760 private rooms. Black Bear Lodge. Features 530 rooms. Buffalo Lodge. Features 573 rooms. Temporarily closed. Lynx Lodge has 855 private rooms. Wolverine Lodge has 855 private rooms. The Grey Wolf Lodge, 946 rooms, most of which are private. the Henday Lodge is temporarily closed and doesn't say anything about its capacity. Precision Camp Services. This is what Precision Camp Services builds. What does that look like to you? Onyx Industrial, the real bad boy. These guys do comprehensive on-site medical services and corporate safety. Book your COVID-19 testing. They offer RT-PCR swab testing using gold standard diagnostic technology with 95% accuracy and same-day results. Testing available at the Onyx facility in Leduc or on-site at your location. That Onyx facility just may be one of our federally designated quarantine facilities. These are mobile testing units. They travel around doing on-site testing and doing screening and symptom checks. They also serve as isolation vehicles in case you test positive, so they can transport you to your designated facility. They have a fleet of over 180 individuals and 70 vehicles. We offer outstanding occupational health services Canada-wide. Now let's scroll back up and check out their COVID-19 services. Protect your staff and maintain your remote operations. Organizations across the globe are working to pivot their operations to meet the new realities of the COVID-19 pandemic. The realities of the COVID-19 pandemic? In reality, they don't need these kinds of things. Our role on your worksite is to monitor and screen for potential cases of COVID and prevent the spread of the virus. Identify, pre-screening, temperature checks, and symptom screening, on-site testing, multimodal COVID-19 diagnostics, including PCR and lung ultrasound with state-of-the-art technology. Isolate, extraction service, Patients will be transported via mobile treatment center to their home, isolation space, or hospital, pending assessment and discussion with the patient. Isolation support. Hotel accommodations with on-site nurse for those who cannot safely return home to isolate. Alert health authorities. Direct communication with provincial health authorities as required. Think about that. Or better yet, let's hear it from Onyx themselves, what they do.
We created Onyx almost 3 years ago now, focusing on the emergency medical services space, as well as all of our Indigenous partners that we have in various communities across Western Canada. And now we are dualing as EMS and COVID response, which is extraction services, isolation facilities, and rapid testing. Extraction services begin when there is a worker who is showing symptoms on location or feels they've been exposed to COVID via a coworker. We then deploy our MTC unit, Mobile Treatment Center, and we get them to location. We properly don the patient and our medic in PPE. We transport them in the back directly to their home. That transitioned a little bit into our isolation facilities. We've got probably in total over 85 rooms available across Canada where people can go start and finish their isolation. We will facilitate with the testing via AHS, and we provide laundry, we provide meals and groceries so they can have a combination of both. There's 24-hour medical care, 24-hour security, and that way we are compliant with AHS regulations and their protocols on having these isolation facilities. Recently we started rapid testing. We use a product called the High-Risk Cube. If you can visualize a Rubik's Cube, it's slightly bigger than that, which is the device that we use, and we can test up to 6 people at a time. The results are usually 90 minutes through the machine, and the machine is 95 to 98% accuracy, and that's approved by Canada Health. Currently we're testing in 3 camps remotely in Alberta already. A lot of those workers work in close proximity, so there's a lot of close contact situations. Typically, what they deem an outbreak of 2 or more symptomatic workers would merit a phone call to Onyx, where we would come and test everybody. From there, they can triage who's going to work, who's going to home, who's perhaps going to our isolation facility. If you are interested in any of our services, you can go to onyxinc.ca, and the general email is sales@onyxinc.ca.
I want to draw your attention to a statement from the Onyx Vice President. Thank you for visiting Onyx Industrial. As of August 13th, 2020, we were made aware of various online accusations and distorted information surrounding various YouTube and social media videos. Onyx does in no way support the position of these attacking videos and completely disassociates itself from its heinous, suggestive language. The slandering and harassment that has ensued is being fully investigated by our legal department. Onyx Industrial is an Alberta-based industrial service company focused on emergency medical standby and on-site COVID response. We work exclusively for our industrial and oil and gas clients, and any such services are paid for by our clients for their employees. We are in no way associated with any larger agenda, government or otherwise, and our primary daily objective is to help our domestic fight against COVID to hopefully eradicate it from our communities. Our goal is to do whatever we can to keep our small but mighty company fully functioning and provide meaningful and long-term employment for our staff. For further questions, please don't hesitate to contact me directly. Alberta Proud, Steph Marquez. But wait, didn't we just see their name on an ad for a government contract? But they claim their agenda is not government-driven? Well, yes, it is. Now, I'm not saying this to directly criticize the hotel companies or the owners of these hotels. The government created the perfect storm. Their travel restrictions crippled the hotel industry and brought people's livelihoods down to its knees. Those people need to feed their families too. Then the government offers up a big juicy contract, offering them however much money to use their site as a quarantine. That's what the government does. They make people desperate so that people turn to desperate measures in order to keep themselves alive. But I wanted to show you that they are expanding beyond just hotels, into Fort McMurray camps, into trailers. They have construction companies bidding on these contracts. For what? Onyx can drive around and literally pull you from your work site into the back of their isolation center truck. If you even show symptoms, they are skilled at screening, it says, and symptom checking. What symptoms? Let's say you're out working at a camp in Fort McMurray in the summer and it's plus 38 out. What's the chances that your
body temperature, when they do temperature checks, could be over the 38-degree threshold. Probably pretty high, right? Is that a symptom or a reason to believe people have COVID? Enough for them to isolate you and pull you from your work camp and take you to a different camp? I'm not making accusations here, but I'm asking questions. Same questions you should be asking.